Bola Podcast, episode 69, the BMAC experience. Right on time. Ya tú sabes.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fresh presents Que Bola, where we talk to various movers and hustlers who are popping off and succeeding in the 305 and at the same time influencing the culture. I'm your boy D Fig. Holla at your boy when you see me in the street. Ew. In this episode, I had the opportunity to interview Bryant Mckinnie out of the University of Miami, amongst other accolades. Ya tú sabes, but to you, that's just right here on my heart, Pablo. I want to thank Bryant for coming on, talking to us, and being so transparent. You know, All-American, NFL Super Bowl winner, first-round draft pick, all of those things, man. You guys could go check it out. Without further ado, let's just jump right into this. Bryant Mckinnie, Que Bola Podcast, episode 69. Listo. Let's do it, Pablo. So we are in another episode of the Que Bola Podcast, my dogs. Thank you so much for listening, subscribing, sharing. Thank you for all the comments that you've been leaving on all the various posts that we have on Instagram. Check out our TikTok and all our good socials. In this particular episode, we have a superstar NFL entrepreneur / all-around philanthropist, good guy, my dog Bryant Mckinnie. Bryant, thank you so much for coming out.
We need a crowd noise. Hey, hello, do something. No,
no booing, no booing. That's actually real Miami right there. Like, hey, do something, they boo you and shit.
Right.
So, Bryant, thank you for coming onto the podcast, man. I mean, your accolades precede you. First round draft pick, NFL All-Pro, Super Bowl champion, 2-time All-American, Heinen Trophy winner, National champ. Yeah, Pachanguero, retired Miami Dolphin.
Oh, Pachanguero?
Pachanguero. That means
Pachanguero.
Pachanguero's like a partier.
Oh, okay, Pachanguero. Okay.
Yeah, Pachanguero's somebody who likes to have fiestas and be in a lively party atmosphere.
You taught me something new. See, my goal is to learn something new every day. Pachanguero.
Pachanguero, yeah.
Pachanguero.
You're an official Pachanguero. I mean, I follow your social. I see your
I try to entertain people. I try to figure out what it is they want to see from me on my social media. Some people want to see workouts. Some people want to see me just giving good energy. Some people want to see like the philanthropy side, like, you know, the foundation side.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see a little bit of different things, so I just give them everything.
Yeah. When do you have? You're the one on your social media. You're the one who's like protagonizing everything. You don't have like socials like. You don't do breakout sessions and you don't try to do storylines or anything like that. It's just like your everyday, what you're going through all the time, right?
Yeah. So what you mean by storylines?
Like some social media people will try to be like, okay, today we're going to talk about these topics. And
I just kind of just go with basically what I'm doing.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Real.
Like what's popping off in your life.
Yeah, that's too much planning. I'm just going to just go with the flow.
I mean, it's great that you have such a lively life. You know what I'm saying? Like you're constantly moving, you're constantly doing things.
And then some people tell me that they live vicariously, I guess, through me because just being active and things like that. But I mean, that's just me. I just have to stay active. Like I put so much energy into sports and everything. Yeah. So now when it's over, you still have that energy. So it's let me just put it into other facets of my life.
So let's touch a little bit on your sports career, right? Mm-hmm. Your sports career, I mean, if anybody would like to check it out, you could go out and do some research. It's all out there. Bryant has gotten to the mountaintop in his particular lane. You started off in New Jersey, right? Mm-hmm. You went to a JUCO. Mm-hmm. After JUCO, you got, I wouldn't want to say lucky, but you kind of lucked out when you were saying that one of the people that was looking for a player on your team, actually, the running back.
So that was from high school.
Yeah. Oh, that was high school.
Yeah. So in high school, I came from a small school in New Jersey. Nobody really was going pro from there. That wasn't like a big thing. It's just like, go to school, probably go to like a small school, and may play sports there, but that's it. Somebody sent the video into the University of Iowa, and it was after National Signing Day, and it was about the running back. Our running back was really good. And they seen the video and they said, well, who is this? And it was me. And he came to the school. His name is Frank Verducci. I still remember him. I've never met him.
Yeah.
But I know his name. And then he ended up being a coach in the league.
You've never met him after that?
I never met him after that.
We got to set that up, bro.
Right. He came to the school to meet the running back, but he also wanted to meet me. And then he was like, hey, it's after, National Signing Day, we don't have any more scholarships because it was, National Signing Day's over.
Yeah.
He said, but I can send you to this 2-year school where you'll learn to play the position, but you'll already have a letter of intent to go to University of Iowa, and you'll come straight to us from there after you learn how to play left tackle.
Yeah.
Because I played defensive end in high school. And I was like, oh, I can further my education, so I'll go do it. Like, I didn't like offensive line necessarily because I grew up as a Reggie White fan. I was, South Jersey, so the Eagles was my team at the time. But it was like, all right, I'll do it if I have to. I got there, still tried to change the coach's mind, but they still was like, no. So my first year there, I learned the position, and I became a JUCO All-American after the first season. After that first season, Hayden Fry was the head coach at Iowa. He retired, so the whole coaching staff
was gone.
Was let go.
Yeah.
So now my tie to that school
was gone.
No longer.
Yeah. Which is often the case. And like,
just look at the timing of that though. So basically, I just went there for 1 year, and so now going into my second year, now all these other schools can talk to me, and I just became a JUCO All-American. So now I'm going into my second season, and just got to kind of just have a similar, season that I did my first season, and Miami came in, late like in November or so of my second season, and I ended up taking a visit here, and I went to Arkansas. I went to a couple places, and what's crazy is I got sick here, like my second day. All right, so Jersey, things close at 2 o'clock. Here? That's what I say. I came on a visit. Jersey, everything closes at 2 o'clock. Here it's like 5.
Yeah.
Come here, first night, it's all good. It's hot here. I don't have summer clothes, but we hung out that first night till 6 in the morning, whatever, 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
But then they have to wake you up the next day. You have to be on campus walking around at like 9 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm dead tired. I done got like a cold. Like I ain't getting no sleep. Like
yeah.
So I wasn't feeling it the second night. The second night they're like, oh, we're going here. I'm like, I'm gonna eat and I'm going back to my room to go to sleep. They're like, what? So I didn't really get the full 2 days. I only went out one night with them. I had fun, but I was just over it.
What do those trips consist of?
You like learning the business part for our school during the day, and then at night
you
partying. Go to dinner, and then the guys take you out to clubs that they can get you into. Yeah, because I became one of those guys after a while. Like once I was in Miami, when the recruits would come, they would give them to me because they knew I was going out and I knew people and I could get them. They're young, I could get them in places. Yeah, and I became that person. Got a lot of people here.
Is that when your pachanguero streak started?
Pachanguero. I gotta really write that down. Yeah, it did start. I'm gonna tell you how it really started. All right. From the head coach that's here now, Mario Cristobal. All right. Mario Cristobal was my assistant O-line coach. He was a graduate assistant. So for my position. There's a guy named Hugo who used to work the door. At the time, it was, I think it's called Amnesia.
Oh, I remember Amnesia.
Right. So Hugo.
South of 5th.
Yeah, so Amnesia was with Opium Garden and all that. Yeah. Right. So Amnesia. So he was like, oh, my friend, he works the door. His name is Hugo. Just tell him. He already knows that you're coming. And I went, and Hugo let me in. And Hugo was like the main security there. Yeah. And I just kept going. So now everybody else started getting familiar with seeing me. Yeah. And just assumed, yeah. Hugo's letting him in. He must be somebody. They weren't IDing me. And I was, I was 19, 20. Yeah. And I kept going. Then once they got familiar with me, I started bringing other classmates. Like, you know what I'm saying? We were all young, but they would still let us go in. And then that's how I really built my relationship. Is Mario Cristobal linked me with the first person at the door, Hugo, who was there forever. Yeah. Hugo, you remember Hugo, right? Yeah. So Hugo was there forever. I met Hugo when I was in college, and Hugo was the first one to let me in. And then he, was at different spots, so I would go to wherever Hugo was at. And Hugo was always at the
main spots.
Yeah, so he was the first person who ever let me in on South Beach, and
that's how it
started. Yeah,
that's dope, man. I mean, you know what? I've always said that's something that South Florida has as a college town that no other city really could compete or bring to the table. Because even LA, which is like a popping place, everything shuts down at 1:30. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's not like you keep on partying at that time. It's like
LA is like it turns into like house parties or something.
Everything's
like
house parties and later on. So it's like South Florida has that nightlife where it draws, which it could be like a double-edged sword too. Like if you should be doing something else instead of being out that late, it could come back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah, I just like it better because like I don't. You go to other places. I'm not used to being somewhere by like midnight or like you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You get there like 1:30, 2 o'clock. You know, like 1:30. Like I would get there 1:32. The prime of the club is like around 3:15.
Yeah.
And everybody's making the decision to where they're going next around 4:15. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. So it's like.
It's crazy how that cycle is, right?
Yeah.
Like you'll be in the club and everybody's planning for what's next. What's next? Are we gonna go to what was it? It was like I would do this thing where we would go out, right? After that we would go to like Space and then do like late night at Space, and then after Space go to Nikki Beach. And do like the brunch there. I'm talking about like going on 18 hours of straight party. You know, that's some South Florida shit right there.
It really is. I feel like the energy is here for that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like LA, that's not the type of energy. LA is meant to be 2 o'clock. You know what I mean?
Like it's meant to shut down.
When people come to Miami, they already know the energy to bring here. It's just different. Each city has certain energy, and Miami's is that you know that you can have access to go and party all night if you want to.
I mean, it's crazy how so going back to that story, how this wasn't your trajectory. Like that just happened to be that coach seeing that film for that particular other player, and
I'm gonna
you
tell you
got
what's funny
set on
is
that.
a random person who I don't know mailed that video in. You know what I'm saying?
So that's even another leg.
It's another leg of I don't know who it was. Mailed the video in to University of Iowa.
Yeah.
To tell them about this running back, and they end up seeing me on there like, well, who is this? So that's a whole nother thing where that person, whoever, doesn't even know that they affected me. You know what I'm saying?
So let's say that doesn't happen. Where's Bryant Mckinnie now?
Bryant McKinnie's probably doing something because I was always into music. So I would have tried to do something in the field of music and A&R, or I would have tried to work for a label or something.
So yeah, let's talk about that. B Major Records. Are you still working on that?
I'm getting back into it now because I had somebody who worked for me a period of time who's now like a big producer. Goes by Hitmaker, but he was Young Berg at the time. I had got him to move from LA to Miami some years back, like 2011 or so, and
oh yeah, I saw that on a podcast somewhere.
Yeah, he was on Tank's podcast.
Yeah,
and then he was on I Am Athlete podcast as well. And
he was talking about that.
Yeah, so he's actually moving back to South Florida. I think he has moved back already, but he's now asking me to come and help with some things. So that's kind of what's leading me back over in that realm of music again. It's just finding the right people who really want to do it, because that was another thing is. All right, I put out a project in 2009, got nominated for 3 Grammys. So I got Grammy certificates for Pleasure Peace Project.
How did that feel, getting nominated for a Grammy?
You know what's funny is I was invited to the Grammys because of the nominations, but I was in the playoffs.
Sheesh,
so I couldn't go.
that's tough. Dog.
Right, so I was in the playoffs at the time, so I couldn't go to the Grammys because I was in the playoffs. But at the time, I don't think I really, it's like, oh, wow, like exciting, but it's just like I was in my main job too, so
yeah. So you didn't really like grasp it.
Yeah. So I didn't get a chance to really grasp it like that. But when I look back at it, and then like I just mentioned, like, dang, I just came in real quick and just was at least not recognized by the Grammy committee.
That's a major feat,
saying?
Man.
Right. So I appreciate that, and then I just went on and helped do like some A&R, connect the dots between some people musically too since then. But yeah.
That's dope, man. So what aspect of music are you more drawn to? Like, do you like the A&Ring or like?
I like the A&R. I like finding talent too.
Okay.
But I like the A&R part. But I really like to find talent and try to build them up from when nobody knows them to try to. That's what I really want to do. With Pleasure P, he was in a group, so
yeah,
that wasn't me really building him up. He already had like notoriety from being in Pretty Ricky.
Well, do you fuck with Spanish music? Because your boy does Spanish music.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, Oro Fresco in the house.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, boy. Spanish music.
I fuck with music, period, yeah.
Do you fuck with Spanish music?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope,
I have
man.
a whole Spanish playlist on my phone.
Get out of here.
I do.
What's it called?
No, I just have Spanish songs.
Oh,
I have
okay.
a playlist like called Spanish music, and then there's like a bunch of songs. I'll play them when we finish.
What is it that okay, this is something I had not expected. So
I like music. So
what is it that you're looking for?
Because I know you're about to ask me like what song somebody just
not
see.
songs, but like what is it that you're listening to in the Spanish music? Because I mean, I'm sure you're not fluent.
These are popular.
In Spanish.
No, but these are just popular songs that I just know that are good, that I like.
Okay, what draws you to? Give me one song right there that you like a lot. Let's see. You're probably the one that gets played the most right now on that playlist, on that Spanish playlist.
I don't know. I just play them. I play them all the songs I have.
Let's see. Do you have? Oh, okay. So you like the rhythms.
Yeah.
That's what you're listening to.
Yeah.
You're not really listening to obviously the lyrics are something else.
I learn them as I.
Oh, but that's actually Brazilian funk.
But it's not considered.
I mean, it's called Latin. It's considered Latin music, yeah, but not Spanish music. But yeah, that's everybody knows that.
A lot of these songs everybody know.
That's a little too popular. Okay. So you like funk music?
I guess, yeah.
That's the song,
all right, so it's funk. I didn't know it was funk. Okay.
Yeah, baile funk. So you through Big Merger, you're also looking for like
I would.
Spanish, and you're open to all kinds of genres.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, that's dope, man. That's refreshing. Okay.
So funk. So all this is funk.
All of that is baile funk.
Oh,
That's
okay.
like funk de favela. That's actually a Portuguese song as well.
Okay.
It's mixed with Spanish. So it was the original was
Ente.
yeah, the original was boom 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 tanta or something.
Yeah, this is called Boom Boom Tam Tam.
Yeah. So original is a Portuguese baile funk song that this guy remixed on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are the rhythms, man. It's like an Afro beat meets the jungle type thing. You know what I'm saying? Of course, Bad Bunny is on everybody's playlist. That shit does not stop. Yeah. I mean, I could totally see that kind of music, man. That you're listening to.
Because I like dance music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things that's gonna make people dance.
Yeah, 100%, bro. We got to talk about Oro Fresco then, bro.
Yeah.
If that's what you listening to.
Yeah.
That's what's up, bro. So, being that you're listening to all this type of music, you're in the music scene in South Florida. Who's like locally somebody who has like inspired you musically? You know, even like while you were in your playing days that you would listen to. Were you listening to like Trick, Trina?
We were listening to Trick,
Luke?
especially at University of Miami. We were listening to Trick.
A lot of Trick.
Even on our documentary on the 30 for 30 with
Yeah.
Billy Corbin did, Butch Davis even said, like, I would ask guys, who you listen to? He's like, Trick Daddy. He's like, I really just did. Like, you know, Butch Davis didn't know who he was.
He didn't know
but
who Trick was. One time for Billy Corbin.
Right.
He's also an alumni of the podcast. He's been on the podcast
okay,
before.
yeah. I like Billy a lot.
Yeah, man, Billy's cool people, man. And that's dope. That 30 for 30, it does have a lot of that, like, flavor.
Trick is on the soundtrack. Like, the song is a Trick Daddy record that they're playing. Like, Trick did for that.
For the documentary.
Yeah, so.
For the ESPN.
Yeah, it was dope. So yeah, Trick definitely, especially then.
Yeah.
And just being in Miami, and Trick was definitely like in his prime then too. So
yeah,
he had songs like "Take It to the House" and "Shut Up" and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So those were like football songs because they had the big marching band sound and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, then definitely for sure, Trick. I listened to just like a lot of different people. Even when I was in the league, eventually like Iceberg.
Okay.
Which is basically like kind of a spinoff of Trick and Rick Ross and all those guys. A group called MGT. They had a song called "Let's Go Get 'Em." It was a lot of different people I listened to from South Florida that would get me.
That you get you pumped up.
Yeah.
Revved up. Did you ever listen to some Pitbull?
Pitbull, yeah, I did too. When he first came out, because Pitbull's style had changed. Remember, he was like more
he used
rapping.
To be like gangster.
Yeah.
Bars, dude.
He did.
He used
so
to
when he
hard.
was like really rapping too, so I was listening to some of his stuff, before games as well.
Yeah. I mean, so being that you played in three teams NFL, that Miami nightlife, like we were talking about, how does that differ to like, Minnesota and...
It's a big difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Go from Miami to Minnesota is a big difference.
And how about the Ravens?
It's Minnesota's way more conservative than...
South Florida.
Everywhere, and Baltimore.
Oh, in general.
Yeah, it's just a very conservative state. So it's just different. And I just made adjustments and brought friends in town and made it become as close as it could be to what I was comfortable with.
I feel you.
So I kind of created the vibe I needed it to be for me while I'm there.
Yeah, that's dope. So when you were playing, social media wasn't such a big thing
Thank
as
God.
it is now. Okay, so let's touch on that. Let's touch on that.
I lasted probably longer because of that.
All right. How do you feel the landscape has changed due to social media, man, in general?
Because everybody's quick to record things.
Okay.
So every time you're out, like, you gotta look at it. Back in the day, nobody was ever going to be recorded or taking pictures in a strip club like that.
Yeah. Or in general.
That's changed, yeah, but that's changed so much now. And it's like, and you videoing everything everybody does and all that, and it just could have put people in just situations that they didn't want to be in. But now you're more aware of, they're going to record anywhere. You could be out to eat somewhere, and somebody's going to just sneak and record you. So it just heightens your awareness now. And
I was actually thinking about the opposite side, about how players and athletes now use social media.
They use it, but I feel like players and athletes don't go out as much anymore either because of social media.
Oh, so you think it's made them stay in a bigger cocoon?
A lot of people aren't going out. My era of athletes were going out way more.
Oh,
because you had to prove that they were there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
What do you mean?
There was no video phones, you know?
Okay.
There was no way if you could tell if somebody was really there or not. But now it's so many things. You could be in the background of somebody's video just by mistake and everything. And I mean, as far as like relationship or just anything, you know what I'm saying? Or just being on social media and just being seen places, and then you have a bad game. It's like, oh, that's the problem is he was here. Like, you could just track too many things down. But
like that happened with Urban Meyer. Remember what happened with Urban Meyer in Jacksonville? That like after the loss, he got caught at a bar,
right,
grinding on.
So things like that.
That was a crazy move.
But that wouldn't have happened years
back
ago,
in the day,
right? And you
know,
you have to become more aware of that. So a lot of those guys don't really go out like they did. Like, we would go out after a game.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. A lot of those guys just going to go home. They'll go out to eat, but then they're not going to go out.
So that's changed the dynamic with pro sports.
So you have and what changed the dynamic is too. Also, is you have people who are influencers now who I guess can be looked at based off of their following almost as equal as the athlete. You know what I mean, or the actress or the rapper, but they really don't have a talent, but they just have a following. But it's like, the rapper, the actress, the athlete, they all have a skill that they have, you know, which is entertainment. Yeah. But you're, I guess, now an influencer because you're entertaining people on a social media platform. So now it's like, are we the same? Are we similar? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
do you feel athletes or people that are producing the talent, you feel they feel that way? That they come up, they're like...
Some are, but some of them come up. I don't know if there was a grind process. I haven't had their experience, so I don't know if there's a grind, if that's what they're trying to do or just happen or whatever. But I just know there's some people who I know who are personally like legends in certain fields, and they'll be questioned about how many followers they have. And they're looking at, why are you going to ask me how many followers I have? And we're a household name. You know what I'm saying? Compared to some other people who are coming up who are younger, but they have a following because that's more their era. But like...
Are you a household name if you don't have followers? That's the question.
Some people are household names. Salt and Pepper's a household name, but you have Jada and all them who have more followers than them, but everybody knows who Salt and Pepper is.
100%.
Exactly.
One time
everybody knows who they are for the past 35 years.
Didn't they just get a star on the Walk of Fame?
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of those young girls who like, you know, sell things, or their, you know, their baby fathers were or artists or whatever, have a bigger following than them, but everybody knows who
Salt and Pepper.
Exactly. But their following's not as big as their girls, but so yes, absolutely. You have household names who
have no following,
who don't have as big of a following as some other people,
because they just don't play that social media game.
Somebody else I can tell you who's been around. I can tell you two people who. One person, she's built her brand now, Kim Kardashian. Yeah. But she has way more followers than a Serena Williams, who's been around for 4 decades being a champion.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's true. Shit. And Serena Williams just did her thing.
Right.
Her retirement.
But this has been 4 decades.
Yeah.
4 different decades. She started out in 99, won her first championship. Yeah. And then this is a whole nother decade. So, but I'm bigger. She has Kim has a bigger platform just because of the way she's aligned and the marketing and everything. But that's what I'm just trying to say. Is like some people have a whole skill that they put out there and have been a champion all these years, and somebody else who is just being on a reality show,
just famous for being famous.
Yeah, has a way bigger platform. So
yeah, I mean that's the world we live in.
You can still be a household name and just don't have the same following.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So you mentioned Serena Williams. I saw somewhere that you and Serena Williams had linked up for a while, right?
Not like me and her sister, not like linked up how? Like cool, yeah.
Yeah. But she had like taught you some agility moves for.
Well, they both did. Venus is
Okay.
a really one. If on YouTube you'll see Venus give me the lessons. Venus is more patient, so Venus is more of the instructor. Serena, I don't think has the patience to be a real teacher like that.
Yeah.
So we played.
Yeah.
But it wasn't no instruction given. It was just like, well, let's just play.
Oh, okay,
Venus
okay.
actually had you out there teaching you how to serve, teaching you how to like.
Do you think that served you in your career?
Oh yeah, it did.
I mean, because you need to be very agile for
to
tennis.
be agile, and I implemented that into part of my like routine during the football season. We have to weigh in on Fridays, so I would go eat dinner, and I have a tennis lesson Thursday night. So I have dinner, and I would burn my dinner off after taking the tennis lesson Thursday night, and then go weigh in. To the point where when we went to the Super Bowl, my head coach made me bring my tennis equipment and made me continue my same regimen. So I had to play his assistant at the time. I had to play him Thursday night before weighing, and keep my routine going. I guess that was part of him being superstitious as well. But I had to do that too. So I had to bring my tennis gear to New Orleans for the Super Bowl
That's
to play.
Dope, man.
To play. So yeah, and
That's
I won.
Dope. So when you left your career sports, right? You started. Okay, so like this is something that I've always wanted to talk to somebody in a position such as yourself about. The vast majority of people are trying to achieve something, right? As like they have a goal, they want to get to that goal, they feel like that's success, and then once they've reached that goal, maybe they set another goal, et cetera, et cetera. But athletes, like their whole goal is getting to the professional level. Once you get to a professional level, you get paid handsomely, right? You leave these leagues, whether it be NBA, NFL, et cetera, with like vast amounts of resources at your disposal.
Some people. Everybody don't have that social skill. Some people go in there and they're that football player and they're good, but their social skills are weak.
Okay, so this is what I want to touch on. Like after, like to be an athlete, you could be a lone wolf. You could just be like in yourself, do your thing, prepare on yourself, et cetera, et cetera. Once you leave that world and you want to then like branch out and you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to do all these other things. Now other skill sets come into play that you need to incorporate.
Skills.
Social skills,
a lot of guys
anything.
Aren't as social.
So like, yeah, so I see that you have thrived on that. So that's why I wanted to talk to you about it. Like
Ocho Cinco has thrived on it. Certain people have thrived on it.
Exactly.
They have a social personality naturally, whereas a lot of these guys, look at how many players there is.
Yeah.
So Michael Strahan, certain people just naturally have personality. Everybody doesn't. And that's because a lot of them just identified themselves as football players because they started at 6 years old. So when they retire, they don't know how to identify themselves anymore because that part of their career is over. So now some of them go into a depression because they now don't know what's next because their whole life they've been this athlete. So that's a thing where there's like a little depression state, and then they have to go maybe get counseling or just surround themselves by other guys to help dig them out of that. But definitely, the NFL, I think they do have things or sessions for guys to, get together and try to help each other. And they try to get me to talk at it. And I was like, they don't want me to talk at it because I'm not depressed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, they're like, why are you here?
you're just gonna.
But
tell
working
them
out
that
is
you'll
just
snap out of
like
it.
working out is part of it though. Like you ever knows when you work out, you feel better.
Yes.
Like, so that's part of, and it gives you endorphins too. So it gives you like positive, uplifting.
So you think it's an identity crisis that like
absolutely?
athletes
That's
go
all
through?
they've been their whole life. They started Pop Warner from 5-6 years old.
Exactly.
That's all they've been, and then they've made it to all these different levels, and then to the league too. That's all you've been your whole career is an athlete.
Yeah, and then like you leave.
I have not. I started playing late. I wrestled. I played basketball and I played football. I didn't start football in high school, but I always was social too. I used high school as a social event.
I see what you're saying.
I was always social. Always had everybody coming to my house afterwards. So I was social first. And just so happy to play football. You know what I'm saying? So it was different for me, and I continued with my whole social skill. I was prom king in my senior year, like high school. I was very social.
For real?
Yes,
Sheesh.
I was very social in high school
Prom
and
king.
well known. So that was just always in me. So the other things that came with it just probably enhanced my personality more. But yeah, so some of these guys is like they aren't that social, and they're not going to, because they feel like they are who they are, they're not going to reach out and try to keep in touch and keep the line of communication open with people. where I was able to build like a Rolodex of just different friends and people. And now when I retire, it's like, oh, I can do this now. I can book people when they come in town. I can just do certain things that naturally I would do.
Yeah.
But now, you know, you can make something from it.
So you're practicing those skills
It
prior
just
to
was
leaving
already
the league.
just naturally happening, not even necessarily thinking, but now it's like, okay, you have relationships with all these different people and you've been there and supported all these different people. So now they're turning around like they are now in different positions as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? So they're like, well, you always helped me when I was, you know, here. So now I want to help you back. So things like that. It's just all about relationships and nurturing relationships. And a lot of people don't do that, but it's actually a skill.
It's funny that you say that because, like, it's coming from you, being that you've seen that side of it. People are always like, I want that bag. I want the bag. And you don't realize that, like, money is cool and resources is cool, but you could have the bag and not know what to do with it, you know? And you fumble it and be super depressed or whatever. The
bag is not necessarily going to make you solve. It's not going to solve anything. The bag can make things a little more convenient, but it's not going to. If you're still going through whatever internally within yourself, you know what I'm saying. You still got to heal that. If you're still going through things with family, you're still going through. You can have a bag and be sick.
Yes.
And with that bag can't do nothing. That bag can't cure nothing. Have a bag and family member pass away. You can have a bag and a lot of things can happen. And that bag really is not going to really do much. Like you're still going to go through that pain and that hurt. So. The bag can, you know, assist and make some things like situations be, you know, better. Like, but it's not curing everything. You're a Biggie say no more money, more problems. Like now more people will come to you because they want part of your bag and all type of things. You become a target. It's a lot.
So in that transition to your entrepreneur life, did you start the entrepreneurship prior to
just being in the right place at the right time?
Okay.
Being
open to it.
Being open to it, but if things make sense, if you really pay attention to like the things that took place in my life, things to be just about is God really, because everything's about timing, how that person sent that video in and things like that. It just be timing, and then how my first year the coach retires and now I can talk to all these other school. All that is like just things have been kind of just set a certain way, and I just keep going with like the direction I'm supposed to go. I have a company called Let's Chat. We NFL is our client. University of Miami. We're on their website. We do their
you guys do a translation, right?
Right. So we're about to get another major company. I just can't speak on them yet, but this would be a really big deal for us because it's a huge company.
Yeah,
NFL's huge, but they'll need our translation a lot more. Me, 2017, being in LA, I was already scheduled to go to LA later in September, but I ended up going like 2 weeks earlier because it was a hurricane that came here. So I was like, well, let me leave. And I was like, going to go to Atlanta. And I said, I'm already going to LA. I might just go out there earlier. Went out to LA. At the time, I was doing some ambassadorship for Uber XL. They just was launching Uber XL here.
Okay.
So I had to be the person who took the pictures and was like on a part of the promo stuff.
Yeah.
And they would just like give me Uber dollars per month for like a year or two or whatever. I was having issues at times with Uber with language translation and rides getting canceled and things like that. So now when I get to LA, who's now my partner, he had developed a whole system and plug-in and everything of how to do real-time translation based off your device setting and not your IP address or anything like that. Because the IP address here is going to be English when there's like 283 different languages spoken here. You know what I'm saying? So when he immediately said that, I was already dealing with Uber. So right away, I'm like, we need this on Uber. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I bought into it. So then I just was like, I'm with it. And let's, partner with your guys and get this going. And then we partnered with Comcast. Really, we partnered with Comcast last November, but the press release went out February this year. We went through a 3-month accelerator program. Comcast owns Xfinity, WWE, Telemundo.
NBC.
Yeah, NBC, Golf, Auto. So they basically just train you how to close deals with those, type of companies. So we've done that. We've been in communication with those companies as well. But that's how that came about. Just me just being in the right place and somebody realizing I was in LA and asked me to come to, meet a group of people, and that's how it happened.
That's dope, man. That's dope. It excites me to see that you're branching out in other aspects, because like sometimes you see athletes finish their career and they just dissipate and you never hear about them ever again, unless it's something bad, like when you see that clickbait, so and so pawned his Super Bowl ring or something like that type of situation, right?
I had a guy on my team. He showed his. It's like, as hard as you work for that.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
It happened.
Because and you might be in similar situations. It's just that you don't know. One particular person knows how to develop those entrepreneurial skills, and that leads to opening up other ventures, and another person doesn't. Another person doesn't have that skill set.
I feel like people have to learn to ask questions. There's a lot of resources too that the NFL provides. You just have to look it up.
You got to be inquisitive.
Yeah, and I think some people they don't look things up or look into things, and we've had those meetings, as a professionals. You have those meetings when they're probably at the end of practice where you don't really want to listen, but those are meetings about your life after the game and the things that they provide, for you. So it's like you want to know this. Like we get discounts on a lot of different things, but people have to be aware of what they are if you got to pay attention. So.
That's dope, man. I like seeing that whole entrepreneur side of you. So the philanthropist part of you, which is like another segment of your life right now. How are you going down that road?
I'm actually doing my first fundraiser April 13th of 2023. Okay. I moved it back because I was on America's Got Talent, and I might have had to go back again for the final, so I had to move the date. And then so I just moved it to April 13th to give us more time to get sponsorships and things. But I have been doing things while I was in the league, but I wasn't publicizing it. And people was like, well, we see you partying, but we need to see this too. So I started having to make an Instagram page and show that I do this as well. Yeah. And I started, I was sponsoring proms. They had to write in. They had to be like a family who couldn't really afford to send their child to the prom. They was a senior, good grades. They helped the school. Like you had to have cosigns and stuff like that. Yeah. I did that for a few years. Partnered with 99 Gems, did Christmas stuff. This year, I normally do something called Operation Turkey, but I had traveled a lot, and I just came up from Minnesota last Tuesday, and I didn't get a chance to do that Operation Turkey this year. But prior years, we gave out over 2,000 meals on Thanksgiving Day to families. I do something for cystic fibrosis every year. I think it's to be the 10th year coming up next February. Is it next February? Yeah. I feel like the year 10.
What's the primary target of people that you
want? So my mission statement is basically single parent homes, healthy kids, healthy living, keeping kids being active, whatever is dance, is anything to keep them active. I donate towards that, whether sports. And then mental health awareness, and that's because I had experienced some former players that I was friends with who was going through some things mentally. Yeah. And they only wanted to talk to me because they feel like I could relate because I've been in the game and stuff. And their family or friends they didn't really want to talk to. So I actually had to go down to a psych ward one time and sit in there and actually talk to somebody and
that's
stuff
heavy,
like that.
Man.
It is. And that's when I realized I hear people say it, but this is actually real. You know what I'm saying? So I added it to my mission statement then.
That's dope, man. That's dope that you're reaching out and you're trying to help, trying to reach back.
I try to educate people on things. There's a lot of things out there too. So I had got a grant writer and I started getting grants from my foundation because before I was doing everything out of pocket, but then I realized, there's grants out there. Yeah. And the NFL supplies some grants too. So I got some grants through the NFL before, and then there's other grants out there just for that. So,
do you have a nonprofit?
Yeah, it's called Be Major Foundation.
Oh, so the Be Major Foundation is the nonprofit that you're running through. Yep. Oh, that's dope, man. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome seeing, the fact that you made it to the mountaintop, right? Being able to reach back and pull some young youth out of a situation that it could be life changing. It could be life changing. So I know that you were working on an electrolyte drink.
Oh, Repent, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had kind of stopped that because we were in the pandemic and everybody was in the house. And I was like, well, I want to be pushing this hangover cure and everybody sitting at home getting drunk. You know what I'm saying? That would have been
great during the pandemic. Everybody was getting lit.
Right. So I was like, I have to, bring that back out. Yeah, but that had nanotechnology in it. So it took about 20 minutes to kick in. And you just drank it like 2.5 ounce shot.
Bro, when you mentioned that shit, when I was listening to it on I think it was on your platform, on your social media, when you said the nanotechnology, what the fuck do you mean by nanotechnology?
That's science. So the molecules are small enough to penetrate your blood cells, and is electrolytes and B12 and basically everything to replenish either a tough workout or you being hungover, right? And
where is this at?
It absorbs, right?
We need this.
You just remind me. I need to call and get that back on again.
That need to get green lit right there,
right?
Buddy.
And I was doing it like around 2019 or so, and then I wanted to start targeting colleges and everything, and then all of a sudden the following year, March, the pandemic hit and everything kind of shut down. I was like, well, let's just hold off. But yeah, I need to get that.
That's super intriguing. Nanotechnology running through my body, getting me right.
Get you to lift you back up, but you actually feel it. Like the people who I've given it to, they're like, oh my God, actually you feel it. Yeah,
that kind of sounds like an IV.
Without having to put no needles.
Without having to put a needle.
And it's only this much, like 2 point.
I've had an IV after having heavy drinking out in the sun all day. And that brings you back like this.
It does.
So, I mean...
Because it basically replenishes everything. Exactly. So that's basically what this does, too. It puts it right in your bloodstream. Yeah. That's all the IV is doing. It's putting it right there, too. Shoot. Just the IV is just going to take longer.
Y'all heard it here. Repent. We need to get that back on the market. So, I know that you have a podcast as well.
I have two.
You have two podcasts. The one that you... Mac and Mika?
So, Mac and Mika Live, that's a podcast that Uninterrupted asked me to start. And that was back in like 2019 as well. And then the pandemic came.
Yeah.
But they, so LeBron's company, he has a podcast in Cleveland. He has one in New York. And they wanted to do one in Miami, but they wanted Miami to be more than just sports. They wanted to be like a lifestyle. So that's why we talk about sports. We talk about current topics. We have a segment called Ask Mac and Mika where people write in questions like for advice. We go over those. And then I got her as my co-host because I'm an athlete and she's a former wife of an NBA player, so she can tell things from her standpoint, from being a wife during his career. Yeah, and I can tell you things from being an athlete. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's how our dynamic kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and the other podcast I know is with the Vikings.
Other podcast called a company called Believe that they have our podcast called Believe in Vikings, and I have 3 co-hosts: Dustin Baker, Sally, and Ron, and everything we talk about is just Minnesota Vikings. So we do a post-game show on Monday nights, which we did last night, and then we do a pre-game show leading up to the following week on Wednesday nights.
Yeah. It's crazy. You're still plugged into the Minnesota
I just left Minnesota last Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I had to host a couple corporate suites for them up there. So like Sleep Number, I got their information because I want to get a Sleep Number bed.
Okay.
So yeah, I try to stay plugged in up there. I mean, that's who gave me my first, start as a pro. Minnesota.
That means a lot, right? Like them.
They gave me my opportunity.
Yeah, they give you the opportunity.
So between them and Baltimore is like.
I mean, you got the ring with Baltimore.
Yeah. And then with Miami is more for college for me. I was only here half a season as a Dolphin, so more my college legacy is a bigger thing here for me. So yeah, between those 3 cities.
That's dope, man. That's dope that you're still working around, and I also see that you're trying to act. You're on an acting part.
So I had did I was doing everything right before the pandemic. I was doing a lot, so I had got an acting coach because somebody reached out to me. They were redoing the movie Varsity Blues, and they asked me to do. Yeah. So I had to get an acting coach because I had to do. What is it called? When you have to go do those little audition, I guess.
Oh, okay.
So I had to do an audition, but luckily going to the acting coach really helped me out in the audition because certain terminology, just certain things, it just gave me a head start. So I did that, and I actually am supposed to get back and start getting more into the whole acting thing. And that was something I said I'm okay with doing. Something I'm not comfortable with, but it's okay. I'm okay with like trying to do it because like I'm that biggest person who always tell people get out of their comfort zone. So I have to do things to get myself out of the comfort zone. I host this event called Glisten Girl Power because I hate public speaking so much.
Okay.
And they asked me to do it. I force myself to do it, and I do it every year just because I hate public speaking. Like I hate speaking in front of a bunch of people. I don't mind camera. Like some people don't like speaking in front of the camera. Yeah. I don't mind that. Being in a room with a bunch of people and they all like just looking at me.
Staring
I hate
you.
it. But I make myself do it to try to get over the feeling. Like eventually you get over it. Like, and then too, I guess my mood too. Depending on my mood. Libras can have moods, right? So sometimes I just don't care and I'm just talking, and sometimes I'm like really nervous.
I mean, and it's good that you're still challenging yourself.
Yeah, you have to.
You got to keep on challenging yourself professionally.
No challenge, no change.
No challenge, no change. What's something that I asked this to a lot of my guests. What's something that like a piece of advice that you would give yourself looking at, going through everything that you've gone through, if you were talking to 17-year-old, 16-year-old Bryant?
There were some things I would have started sooner.
Okay.
I would learn more about real estate and stuff sooner.
Okay.
So I have a friend who's a developer, and being around him, I'm learning now. Like, oh, hey, well, I should have did that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
Real estate.
It's just
Everybody
certain
always
things.
talk about
Yeah,
real
because
estate.
what I learned is you always have to invest in things that you know people are always going to need. So food is something people are always going to need. Clothes is people are always going to need. Hair extensions for women are always going to need. It's certain things that people are always going to buy.
Yeah.
That those are great investments if you want to get in things.
Cash cows.
Property is something that's always going to, be needed. People's always going to need a place to stay. Like, you know what I mean? So, you see how like Airbnbs, people are using that to just pay their mortgages and stuff by just renting it out and stuff. So there's things that I have more knowledge now. If I would have had that knowledge younger, I would have made some other decisions.
How about like a key advice or something that would be motivational to yourself? Because now, I mean, standing from where at the current point where you're at, I'm sure you've gone through a lot of trials and tribulations, and you've learned from that. So like, it's something that like some kind of wisdom you could impart on like either entrepreneurs or creatives or athletes or something like that that are coming out of high school, that are coming out of just starting their career. Something that you've been through that you would be like, man, this is something that's really insightful that somebody should have told me. It took me a while to.
It took me a while to learn to be a pro, because by being a first round draft pick, they just assume you know everything. You came from University of Miami, and I had to watch a lot of people.
What do you mean by that?
Because taking care of your body and getting in the cold tubs and doing all those type of things, I just would go to practice, go home, but learning to get massages. You had to do all those things to take care of your body. You know what I'm saying? Where I was just getting up and going and not knowing, like, you know what I'm saying? But that's part of being a pro, is having those routines on Friday. Like, you have the massage lady come, then you have the person come stretch you out, and then you have certain things that you're eating. You have a chef that's preparing the food, not just preparing anything, but preparing things that's going to make you, more effective, and you know what I mean, things like that. And I was learning that later on. Like, had I known that from the beginning, things would be different, So I had to learn that just from watching the older guys, and they didn't say nothing to me because they feel like, oh, he probably knows, he's from Miami, this and the other. But it's like I just learned from watching, and then when I still was learning year 11 or year 10 when I got to Baltimore, because now Ray Lewis is like, oh, you got to start juicing, you got to do this, now you're getting older. Like, he was still teaching me stuff too. And so having somebody like that just was teaching me more things, and that's how I started learning more about the body and things like that too.
That's dope, man. That's a dope little insightful talk. I mean, I didn't even consider that. Like, learning how to be a pro. To me, you just get into the NFL, you're a pro.
How?
I mean,
you're a pro, but you're not professional. You have to move as a professional. Nobody teaches you how to move as a professional.
That's true.
You have to be around people who are moving as professionals, and then it's like, oh, and you pick up on little things.
And that applies to everything.
Yeah.
It's not only athletics, that's in everything.
Right. So you pick up on certain things or how people go about handling certain things, and then you realize, like, oh, okay, that's how I need to handle it because I'm not handling it correctly, or that's what I need to do. Like, you just start paying attention.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's crazy. That's wow. So all right. So now that you've moved on from your career in athletics, and you're doing music and you're doing things like that, you have still kept in contact with a lot of celebrities, right? This is something that I don't know, because I'm not a celebrity. So when you're like in that celebrity world, how does that like, do you guys recognize each other, or do you just like are at a social event, somebody introduces you and that's how you click up?
For me, I feel like for the most part it's been like a referral type of thing. Like, you met one person, I met Uncle Luke first, and then he introduced me to Trig, then Trig introduced me to Trina, and Trina introduced me to, and it just kept going. You know what I'm saying? With Pepper from Salt and Pepper, I just happened was in Amnesia.
Okay.
And I was in a VIP area, and she had a table.
Damn, you know Salt and Pepper since Amnesia?
I did, since college.
Sheesh.
It was Pepper, actually, her and her cousin, Sonya.
Shout out Pepper, bro.
So, in Amnesia, she had a section, and we were next to them, and she thought I was older than what I was. And she was like, you're in college? I'm like, yeah. She's like, what are you doing what are you doing in the VIP area? I'm like, oh, we got a table. And she's like, I have it on my phone where she's like, we're talking about this. She's like, you taking money from the agents or something? Like, she's questioning me all this. I'm like, no. And then she like telling me like, I could be your agent. I only charge this percent. I was like, that's a lot. She's like, I only charge 15%. I'm like, nah. She says, they charge less than that? I'm like, yeah, agents charge like 3 or 2%. And she like, what? Like, so we kicked it off there, and she was just so welcoming. The first time I met her, that she went out, we hung out with her the next day, and just from there, just had always been friends. So then I met people through her as well. So then once you just start meeting people, and you're giving off good energy, and then they're like, oh, when you go to Miami, and then I was always having fun. What's the word you use?
Pachanguero.
The BMAC experience.
Right, the BMAC. I call it the BMAC experience.
Oh, that's what you call the BMAC experience.
Once people are getting out and you can make people feel comfortable, they lower down their wall, and then now they're actually having a good time.
Yeah.
And then they trust you. So people just refer people. I had another friend, Asada, who I knew from Kim. But Kelly Price is her good friend. And when she was like, oh, when you're in town, you need to hit up Brian, da-da-da. And Kelly did, and we all went out. So it was like a referral thing. Like, and then I had never met Faith, but when I seen we were at the same event for the Glisten Girl Power, and my mom was talking to her, and she like, oh, this is my son. And she like, oh, I know B. And I'm looking like, you know? But through conversation with like mutual friends, probably Kelly, whoever, you felt like she knew me, like, but this is our first time actually meeting in person. And it's just a referral thing, basically.
Do you feel that you've excelled in that and compared?
I met Kim through Hillary. I met Kim, and then through Kim, I met Lisa Ray. So like things keep, like, it just keeps going,
progressing. Yeah. You feel that you're more acclimated to that than some of your other cohorts that you like were that you played with. That you feel because
I feel like you don't see a lot of, like, some athletes have other like celebrity friends outside of their profession. Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of my friends aren't other football players. They're like rappers.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Actors, where you have some who, I feel like I have a lot though. Like, you have some to have some, but I feel like I have a lot of people that I know. But then some of these people I've just known for a while too. Like, you gotta look at all the girls that was on Flavor of Love and like all those type of things too. It's just been over the years too, and just, you know, things have just been consistent, far as friendships and stuff too. So, organic, and just like it's been always a consistent, like, friendship has never been.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome that like you've been able to knock down those walls, because I mean, people normally stay in their silos, right?
But remember, I told you too that some athletes aren't the most social. You know what I mean?
That's probably like one of your biggest skill sets.
I told you I was that first. Then I was an athlete.
the sociable.
Yeah,
that's right. I mean, prom king prior to...
I was pretty social.
That's dope,
I was on the homecoming court. I didn't win that, but then I was on the prom court and I ended up winning.
Sheesh. Hey, man, that's the one that matters,
right.
Though. That's what's up. So,
winning the Super Bowl with Beyonce and shit.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, yeah, all the power got cut out.
Yeah.
I took a picture with her that night, too.
The Super Bowl.
Took a picture with her and Kelly. So that's another thing. So I knew Kelly through Serena. Me and Serena's already friends, and we have something called the Williams Invitational, which comes back 2023. And Kelly was at one of the invitationals, you know, as Serena's friend. I met Drake through Serena. I met her through people. So that's why I keep saying, like, just certain friendships introduce other friendships. You know what I mean? So at that Super Bowl, Destiny's Child ended up being at our after party for our, you know, celebration.
Yeah, because they were the halftime show.
Right. So everybody was scared to go over there to where Beyonce was. And I was like, I'm just going to go over there. And as I was walking over there, I heard someone say, Bryant, and I looked like, and it was Kelly. And I was like, oh, so it just made it even perfect, because it's like, I know her, and then even, you know, leading up to her Super Bowl, she had a show in, I think, D.C. or something, and me and Isha, who's Serena and them's older sister, we went to her show and supported and got on the bus and talked to her afterwards. So we were familiar. So seeing her, and then now what makes it funny is, you know, me and Kelly's talking and we taking selfies and stuff. And then now B comes over and like introduces herself. And it's like, clearly I know who you are, but okay.
Yeah, like, hi, I'm Beyonce.
Like, she did. I was like, she introduced herself like, yeah, hi, I'm Beyonce. And I was like, really?
Like, what?
That's how I felt. And I said, well, can we take a picture? And she was like, yeah.
That's
and then
dope.
my one teammate, he was from Texas. He played next to me. His name was Kalechi. He was from Houston too.
Okay.
So he's like, bro, can you please let me get a picture with you? And I was like, yeah, because you're the guy who's next to me on the field too, and you're from Houston. So
that's funny how like at that party, all these athletes who just won a Super Bowl.
They were scared to go over there.
They're scared to
I'm gonna go over there.
Like, yo, if I just won a Super Bowl.
I knew Jay already because of my Uncle Wes and him are close. So I've met him a few times already, but I seen her from a distance a few times. But now I feel like you was in our space too. Like, we just won a Super Bowl. Like, you're in our space.
Exactly.
I'm going to go over there. Nobody went over there, and then I went and everybody was like, "Oh, Dad, why you take me? Why not take you? Like,
you a grown ass man.
Opportunity to walk over there too.
You just won the Super Bowl, bro.
Kelly really saved me though. Kelly, I didn't see her at first. She seen me and said, "Bryant," and I was like, and then from there, she made it like more because now like we hugged, we was taking selfies and all that, and then that made B walk over there, so I didn't have to walk over her no more. And then she introduced me to Michelle, and then I met Miss Knowles as well, Tina Knowles as well.
That's awesome, bro. Yeah. You don't really consider.
And then they all
that?
like chilled and talked to my grandma too, because my grandma was there.
Oh yeah,
like my family was there too, so my grandma was over there by me too. And they sat, B actually sat and talked to my grandma like afterwards, like, I know you're proud and this, that, and the other. So that's one thing my grandma was like, oh, it's like, she said, they're both Virgos too, so they really probably got along.
That's funny, man. That's awesome though. Mm-hmm. That's an experience that.
It was definitely an experience for my grandma because
exactly.
she was just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But
never get like something that you cherish.
Yeah.
Something that that's dope. Those are the types of things that, personally, I would love to share with my family, you know?
What's funny is our after party, we had Frankie Beverly and Maze perform and Mary J. Blige. Those were our performers.
That was dope.
For
the closed after party for the winners?
Yeah, just for us, yeah.
Sheesh. I would have break it down, man. Yeah. That's dope. So I also know that you besides Trina, you also know Foxy Brown, right?
I do.
So I know those two, Foxy Brown and Trina.
What made you say that?
Who do you feel is more I don't know, how could I put it? Who's more inspiring to you?
This is no question.
Who's more inspiring to you, Trina or Foxy Brown?
Inspiring to me. What do you mean by inspiring to me?
Who's more an inspiring figure in your eyes?
Who's more inspiring?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
a more inspiring friend.
What question are you asking? Which question are you asking?
Between Trina and Foxy Brown, two musicians that you know. Which one has been more of a friend to you?
Trina has. Trina is more consistent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out Trina one time.
So Trina is definitely more consistent, and Foxy's cool though. But we have our moments when we talk, and then we have our moments where we just haven't seen each other. Just no issue. Just Trina's just consistent. That's
dope. So and that goes throughout like all your relationships. You're like touching base and go like. You could be talking very consistent, very fast, with like a month, 2 months, and then completely go.
Yeah, and you
silent.
can pick back up.
Yeah,
but we both live in Miami, so I'm going to run into Trina a lot more. And then Foxy has a kid now, so it's not like she's moving around as much, I guess. But no, I definitely communicate a lot more and see Trina a lot more.
Trina's family.
Yeah, Trina. Yeah, that's I've known Trina. I met Trina when I was in college too.
Jeez,
I ain't gonna lie.
What's up for you, though, dog? What's up for you, man? Everybody had the you.
I met Trina first, though, but I met Foxy my senior year. I met Trina I met Trina first, but I met.
Who'd you meet first, Peppa or Trina?
I met Trina first.
Okay. So.
But they all were in my college years, like my junior or senior year. When I met them.
That's crazy because, okay, let's say you had gone to another major program.
I wouldn't have met all these people.
Exactly. Like, none of that.
If I went to Iowa.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or even
I would not have met none of these people.
Yeah, exactly. Like, one of those other programs that's what Miami is.
That's what I was saying. Like, everything is like just aligned so crazy.
Yeah.
It would have been a totally different. I don't even know what we'd been talking about BMAC experience if I was in Iowa.
Exactly. You think the BMAC experience has a lot to do with South Florida, like
Mario Cristobal started it.
What type of Mario
Cristobal? He introduced me to the nightlife here, and I said, "Oh, I ain't never going back."
So that's dope, man. That's dope. So I saw on your social media you went to Colombia. I'm Colombian. My family's Colombian.
So I went to Colombia. I went to Colombia with Peppa for the first time.
Oh, you went with Peppa?
That was my very first time.
Sheesh, that's dope.
And then the second time I went, So with Pep, I went to Cali, Colombia, and then the second time I went to Medellin.
Medellin, that's where my family's from.
Okay, yeah, I went there. That was last November, about this time last year.
What prompted you to want to go out there?
One of my Pep asked me to go because her and her assistant was going, and she like, but we need a guy to go with us. Like, I don't want to just be two ladies. And I'm like, all right, never been. And she was like, all right, so I'm gonna just make sure everything's taken care of. I said, okay, why not? Like, yeah, I never been there, so I went. When I went, but when we went, there was like the government and the citizens were having like a war.
Oh yeah, you went during the
we flew into that.
Oh yeah.
So when we got to the when we got there, they like basically told us like, oh, you
They're
can't get
rioting.
in the city, and we're like, what you mean you can't get in the city? They're like, they've closed the city off, like you can't get in. It's like that's where our hotel was. Our driver couldn't get out to come get us. It was weird. Like we sat there. Just what happened to the lady who, because Pepper used the wheelchair assistant.
Yeah.
So she spoke English as well. She helped us find somebody who had a hotel outside of the city. And she talked to them, and they came, and the lady hotel was actually closed, but she opened it for us.
Nice.
Something just told me that I should do, like, and she did it. And she came and picked us up. And then I remember, like, she put her daughter on the phone. Her daughter was like, she has to take the long way, so we don't want you to get nervous thinking she's taking y'all anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, her daughter spoke English, so she kind of, like, let us know what's going on. But she picked us up, and we stayed there for the night, and then we got up, like, 5 in the morning, got a cab to meet our driver in, like, this, like, I don't know, like, I was sugarcane or some type of road, like, it was, like, something, like.
In the outskirts, yeah.
Yeah, and in the middle of nowhere, it's like, how you know to come here? But I have it on my phone, too.
Yeah.
And we took all our luggage and put it in there, and then we finally made it to our hotel. And then we was in the hotel. You really couldn't go outside like that because, like,
what was going on? The social unrest. Yeah.
But the hotel was nice, so it had like 4 restaurants and all that. But I was supposed to leave. We got there on a Thursday. I was supposed to leave on Tuesday, but I couldn't because now the airport's closed down. You can't get out. Hotel had like 4 restaurants. They were down to like 2.
Yeah.
Then now it used to be buffets in the morning. Now it's like you got to order with us.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's the food
slowly going down.
because their food is real natural there. So like every day somebody comes in, but there was no shipments coming in, so the food was running out. I was like, oh my god, like.
Yeah.
But it ended up, we just was very relaxing. Like, it was needed. Like, no hanging out, just really just relax and
like
swim and get massages and just things like that. And my snaps, you could never tell all that was going on because I was always showing, like, relaxing things, like in the pool, getting a massage, at the buffet, like stuff like that. We was watching movies in the room, ordering, like, wine. But,
That's
I was
dope,
able to disconnect and relax. But it was a cool experience.
I'm glad that you got to see my country, man.
Yeah, your country... That was more like I got to walk around and experience it. So that was more like a nightlife and like turned up.
Yeah, it gets turned up out there.
But they said Cali was like the salsa capital though. But like I said, we didn't get a chance to experience like the stuff. But we did go to a restaurant there. So it was a family that is from Cali. And they had a restaurant right in the city. So one day we went to their restaurant. They opened it up and we all went and had lunch there. But their daughter was living in New York. She was a makeup artist, and she was walking by, and she recognized us or something, and she told her family. Then they came over, and they would like start telling us. So I remember one day, like they weren't serving alcohol either. First couple days we were there, but then they said the band was over, and they was waiting for him to sign something. So then they started serving back alcohol and stuff. And
thank God all that.
That was the best sangria. When I was out there in Cali, that was the best sangria I ever had in my life.
Dope.
Ever.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was relaxing too.
That's awesome, man. I mean, it's changed since then. They were going through social unrest politically. They changed the president. That's what they were trying to do. They had elections. We did it through democracy. It wasn't no crazy shit, you know. And thank God things have calmed down a lot since then. But yeah, man.
Because they were trying to raise like taxes, and Cali was already like a high tax area or something like that.
Trying to raise taxes and trying to raise taxes on fuel, which is crazy. You know, I mean, that's big out there in South America. You know, you live and die by fuel prices because I mean that's basically your access to everything. You use fuel for everything out there, cooking and everything. It's not electric stoves out there. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's changed since then, and it's more peaceful. I suggest everybody if you have a chance. Go back to Colombia when you can.
Well, when I went back in November, it wasn't, you know, it was very, you know, it was open. But when I went to Cali, it was closed down. But
so last question I have for you: when you're going out, right? you're partying, you're having the BMAC experience, pachanguero life.
Pachanguero. I'm gonna ask you that word again. Pachanguero.
What is it that you're going for? Because I know out
My
there,
friends.
that's what you're going.
I was telling somebody the other day, I said, I've never met nobody in the club that I try to talk to or take home. I go to the club, I don't even leave. Like, I never have to go to the bathroom or nothing. I don't do this whole walk around and all that. I came there for y'all, with y'all. That's why I'm here. Let's have a good time. Let's enjoy each other's company. That's the only reason why I'm here. I'm not here to meet nobody unless it's like networking thing, but I'm just here to be there with the group of friends who I feel like are fun and energetic. And sometimes some of my friends need to get out because they're going through some things that are stressful at home. So they're like, hey, let's do this. I'm going through this. I have a couple of friends whose parents have passed and things like that. So I know at times they want to get out because they bury themselves in work. They want to get out and get out the house. I'll go with them. You know what I'm saying? I make sure we have a good time.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So like all trying to create like joyful experiences.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I champion you and I congratulate you for being able to be so like well rounded after post career athletics, which is
I think I was already like this kind of before.
Exactly. I think it came in. That's something that you alluded to earlier. That this is something that you started off being a social butterfly prior to athletics, so it really didn't like hinder you in terms of like your self identity. Where other people, their whole entire self identity is tied to that thing, right? So but still, man, it's challenging to pivot, and you did it with grace, man. You've done it with grace. I hope nothing but the best for you moving forward.
Thank you.
You know, I hope all your endeavors are successful. And yeah, man, holla at your boy when you see me in the street. You know, I'm down for whatever, B.
Okay.
And thank you for coming on to the Bola Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for talking to me and sharing with me and being transparent. And like I say to everybody out there, if you like the podcast, please share it with your friends. If you hate the podcast, share it with your enemies. But just share this motherfucker. Oh, BMAC. Social media.
My social media, all my platforms is Bryant Mckinnie, Bryant Mckinnie.
Bryant McKinney. We out. Peace. I want to thank Bryant McKinney, the BMAC Experience, El Pachanguero, for coming out to the Bola Podcast and talking to us, being transparent, being real, giving us some real answers, and dropping some gems on us. To everybody out there listening, I appreciate your time as well. Thank you for spending an hour with us. For all the creatives and entrepreneurs out there, I hope we provided some insight on how to go about and walk in this journey that y'all on. You know what it is the Bola Podcast. Your boy D-Fig, holla at your boy when you see me in the street. Much love from Miami-Dade County to the nation. Hasta la próxima, pavo. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Bola Podcast. This has been a production of Fresh Media. It's your boy D. Holla at your boy when you see me in the street.